Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Hello there. Saw another Bollywood movie called Mom. Okay, and I've started to notice when a Bollywood movie is good, it's great. But when a Bollywood movie drags its feet, it really drags it because it knows it doesn't have an entire story there. So the movie Mom was good, but at the same time, let's just say the first act was the longest portion of the movie, and anyone who knows anything about film or playwriting or anything like that knows that the first act is the most boring and drawn out. And that's why the second act is the most active, action-intensive, where things start to actually unravel, things start to happen. Everything goes just like but whatever. So it starts out with a mother who's apparently been adopted into the family because she married a man who had a daughter already. She had a daughter with that man, and her stepdaughter, she's a teacher at the stepdaughter's school. Yeah, and she treats her as her own. Has done from the beginning, and we see it from the beginning that she values this girl as her own flesh and blood. So we instantly feel a connection towards the mother, and I personally did not like the daughter because she refused to accept her, because apparently they had been together for like 10 years already, and she had refused to accept her, and in my mind I'm just like, this just feels a little off. And then, well, the stepdaughter gets raped, and then it becomes the mother, the trial, the entire trial sequence and everything, and this is all the first act. All the first act, including the trial, took about an hour and 15 minutes into the movie, till finally the mother decides, because the trial's a wash, the rapists get off free, and then she decides to finally hunt them down. So it instantly starts beginning the second act. And I was actually elated when the first, rapist got what they deserved, because I believe that the punishment should match the crime, and the first rapist was castrated. I mean, if you have no control over, your organs, they should be removed. And this coming from someone who has literally never done anything. So don't listen to me, but listen to me. Yeah, so I was like, okay, that's fine. Because he was allowed to live, and he literally died because when he noticed, he panicked and cracked his skull on a toilet seat. So I was like, okay, so that was a result of it. But then after that, she didn't start doing more. Now I kind of started getting upset, except for one of the characters. He was sent to jail, and what was happening to him in jail was like, okay, I can see I can accept this, but it was just like the one who led to the whole thing. A quick death is like, no, why'd you shoot this person? Or why'd you just poison this person? Sure, they're not gonna be able to live a normal life, but at the same time, they're living and nothing's really happened to them. They're gonna get pity, a lot of pity. It's just like, there are a lot of little things that I didn't agree with, because it was like the first one I completely accepted. The second one who was poisoned, I was just like, no. It wasn't until the one who was arrested, when you see him in the jail cell, that you're like, okay, the punishment matches the crime at this point. But there was just like 2 out of the 4 rapists who it didn't feel right. It just, instant death for this guy, poisoning for this guy. It was only the castration, the castration and the going to prison that felt like it matched the crime. The punishment met. But everything else, and obviously either India has no clue how to do forensics, or the person who wrote this movie has no clue how forensics works, because there was so much evidence left at the crime scene. I mean, there were scenes where she was wearing gloves, and then she'd be like rubbing sweat off her hair, off her head, and then leaving molecules everywhere, and it's just like, that's gonna leave a residue. There's tons of things that are gonna leave a residue, your DNA everywhere. And it's just like, okay, this is very strange from my mindset of how forensic. Well, I've just been watching Dexter and things like that, and sure, not everything is accurate, but I grew up in that kind of environment, so I know what can leave traces, what can't. And there was just like, the mother was leaving traces everywhere. And then when the cop finally confronted her, he's like, I suspect you. And I was like, I have no proof, and I have no evidence. And I'm like, in my mind, it's like, you have all the evidence there. And I was naming off everything that was found at the scene that was left behind. Even like glasses that were left behind would have DNA evidence on it. It's just like, because I'm sure these carry my DNA on them. Absolutely. So it's just like one of those things where you have to take it, just because it's a type of story it is. They just want you to feel like there was a resolution to the whole thing. You have to disbelieve a few things, that the cops are that inept to not be able to catch her, because they want you to be rooting for the mother. But it is easily believable that they would get off that way, because in that kind of environment and that kind of society, I guess it would. I don't know. Because they threw out the girl's testimony at the very beginning just because she had a blood alcohol of 0.08. And yeah, that when it's that kind of situation, that kind of violence, that kind of, yeah, there's no way you side with, well, whatever. You have it just there to make a story, just there to be there. It's good, but it's just takes too long to get going. Oh, one thing, I absolutely love the person they had playing a detective, because it's the first time in a movie I've ever seen someone who's playing an actual good, cool detective who looks the part of a nobody. Somebody who will just blend into the crowd. Or when you first introduced him, I thought he was a pervert as well. So he literally blends into the crowd. Normally they have someone has six-pack abs, or who's a well-known famous actor play that role because it's like a cool role, a Sherlock type role. But no, they literally had someone who looked like an everyday person. And I'm like, okay, this basically looked like Tom Cruise from Tropic Thunder. That's what it looked like. And I'm like, okay, this works. I could believe this right here. Best part about the whole movie, that placement right there. Because if they had some suave actor, some well-dressed, well-kempt actor playing that role, I would have just rolled my eyes. I would have just rolled my eyes, because they're just trying to make them look even cool. Thank you all for watching. Talk to you next time. Toodles.